Sign the damn citation, Mr. Velez, or I'll cuff you right here under the busted lamp you keep whining about. Officer Dugan's flashlight beam drills into Javier Velez's eyes, while the neighborhood dogs howl like sirens. To patrol SUVs idle in the dark blue strobes strobing across houses that haven't seen streetlight glow since the HOA board voted 4-3 last June 12th to kill the power. The summer heat radiates off the asphalt, even at 11:47 p.m. But the darkness feels colder than any winter night. Tonight, July 18th, a burglar slipped out of the Castellanos' kitchen window with their safe. Mrs. Castellano swears she saw Javier's silhouette on her Ring camera. Half the cul-de-sac is already convinced he's the inside man because he led the petition to keep the lights on, the same petition that died when HOA President Ruthanne Keene dismissed it as fear-mongering over minor inconvenience. "Break into anything," Javier says, his voice steady, despite the handcuffs biting his wrists. "Check my phone. There's a video." "Your phone," Dugan snorts. "The one that was conveniently recording at the exact time of the break-in." Real convenient. What Dugan doesn't know is that Javier's phone holds a 47-second clip time, 11:09 p.m., showing the real thief sprinting past the HOA president's Tesla, favoring his left leg like someone with a busted skateboard shoe. He also doesn't know that Ruthanne Keene is his sister-in-law, married to his brother Rick since 2019, or that the HOA treasury is missing exactly $13,750, identical to the cash found, zipped inside. A backpack tossed into Javier's recycling bin. An hour ago, when Dugan twists Javier's arm harder, demanding compliance, the phone clatters to the asphalt. The screen spiderwebs, but the video keeps looping in the darkness, unseen by anyone except the dancing shadows. "You people never learn," Dugan mutters, hauling Javier toward the cruiser. "I've lived here 8 years, Javier says. "Longer than you've been a cop." "Yeah? Well, tonight you're a suspect." The irony burns like the broken streetlight overhead. Javier fought for months to keep these lights on, warning the board that darkness invited crime. Now he's being arrested, under the very lamp he'd begged them to repair, accused of the exact crime he'd predicted would happen. Last winter, the bulbs first failed during a December ice storm. Ruthanne blamed budget, discipline, and infrastructure priorities. But Javier circulated a spreadsheet showing the math. $3.40. A month per house to stay lit. She countered with a glossy flyer titled "Safety is Personal Responsibility" by Flashlights and called a vote for June 12th. The measure lost by 1 vote hers by January. 2 more break-ins had hit the development. By March, car prowlers were working the driveways twice a week. Javier attended every board meeting, showing Ring camera footage of shadows moving between houses, asking when the repairs would start. Options tonight. With every porch light off and the street lamps dark, the block feels like private hunting grounds. And somehow, Javier, the man who fought hardest to prevent this, is the one in handcuffs. As Dugan shoves him into the back seat, Javier spots movement in his peripheral vision. His daughter Valeria peers through their front window, holding his laptop. She's 17, smarter than half the adults on this block, and she has access to his cracked phone through the family cloud account. Tells Dugan, "She knows I was home all night." Kids lie for their parents, Dugan says, slamming the door, especially when daddy's facing felony charges. But Valeria isn't planning to lie. She's planning to show the truth, 47 seconds of high definition. Proof that will unravel more than just one false arrest. Because the figure in that video isn't just any burglar. It's someone the whole neighborhood knows. Someone whose limp matches the gait of Ruthanne's son, Derek, who discarded his skateboard last week after the sole flapped loose from his left. Shootout, the same Derek who's been seen arguing with his mother about money, the same Derek who knows every house layout from delivering HOA newsletters, the same Derek whose mother sits on $13,750 of missing association funds and needed a patsy to cover her. Tracks. By 1 a.m. At 10:47, never mind that. GPS shows the truck was 30 miles away at a nursery loading palm fronds for a commercial job. Ruthanne convenes an emergency HOA hearing in the clubhouse parking lot, lawn chairs under phone flashlights, and declares Javier's property lien pending investigation. The trap has been set for months. The darkness Javier fought against has become his prison. The light will finally return, It won't be kind to those who chose the shadows. The dogs are still howling. The strobes are still flashing. And somewhere in the darkness, the real truth is about to illuminate everything. The war began with a flicker. December 15th, 2024. Ice storm. Missing teeth. Mr. Patterson, stumbling over a curb he'd navigated for 15 years, the same curb that was invisible now without the corner lamp. Temporary Ruthanne announced at the December board meeting, insurance adjuster needs to assess storm damage before we file claims. January brought 2 more failures. The insurance adjuster never came. February meeting, supply chain issues. Lead replacements are back adored. March meeting, we're exploring more cost-effective options. April meeting, the board has voted to prioritize other infrastructure needs. By May, Javier had done the math. He printed spreadsheets, made copies, knocked on doors. Operational, less than a cup of coffee, less than a Netflix subscription, less than the fees most residents paid for lawn service. You're fear-mongering, Ruthanne told him at the May meeting. This is a safe neighborhood. Don't need to live in paranoia to break-ins this month, Javier countered. The Rodriguez family's car was rifled through Tuesday night. Kids can't play outside after dark. Personal responsibility, Ruthanne said, sliding a glossy flyer across the table. Own security. The flyer was professionally printed, color photos of smiling families holding LED flashlights. Testimonials from other HOAs that had embraced darkness and reduced light pollution. A quote from some expert about natural circadian rhythms and community self-reliance. Professional printing costs money. More money than 12 streetlight repairs. Where's this coming from? Javier asked. This campaign against the lights. Fiscal responsibility, Ruthanne said. Something this community needs more of. But Javier noticed things. The way Ruthanne's son Derek always had new shoes, new skateboard gear, new everything despite being unemployed. The way the HOA's quarterly financial reports got thinner, less detailed, more vague. The way Ruthanne bristled whenever someone asked about the treasury balance. June 12th, the vote. Streetlight restoration. Ruthanne presented her counter-petition, 51 signatures, supporting fiscal discipline and personal responsibility. The tally, 423, against restoration. Ruthanne's vote decided it. Democracy in action, she announced. The community has spoken. Not storm damage. This time, someone had unscrewed the bulb. July brought the prowlers. Cars rifled through every night. The Hendersons' garage was broken into on the 4th. The Patel family's bicycle was stolen from their driveway on the 9th. Ring cameras caught shadows, shapes, movement, but nothing clear enough for police reports. Mrs. Castellano called Javier. After her first break-in attempt, July 11th, "You were right," she said, "about the lights. But what can we do now?" "Document everything," Javier told her. "Keep records. This isn't over." He didn't know how right he was. The real crime wasn't the break-ins, the prowling, the fear that kept kids indoors after sunset. The real crime was happening in plain sight. Hidden by the darkness Ruthanne had fought so hard to create. Tonight, July 18th, under the broken streetlight where Officer Dugan's flashlight burns into his eyes, Javier finally understands the true cost of that 4-3 vote. Not just community safety, not just neighborhood security, but his own freedom, his own reputation, his own future. The war began with a flicker. It would end with a revelation that would light up more than just the streets. By 1 a.m., the neighborhood text chains are burning up with rumors. Saw Javier's truck near the Castellanos at 10:47, texts Sharon from 2 streets over. Engine running, suspicious. Makes sense, replies Doug from the corner house. He's been angry about the lights for months. Inside job, adds Patricia. He knows everyone's routines. The messages multiply each one, adding new details, new certainty, new conviction. Someone else heard Spanish. Voices. Someone's cousin's friend works dispatch and confirmed multiple units responded to domestic terrorist activity. None of it is true. Javier's truck was 30 miles away at Sunset Nursery, loading palm fronds for a commercial landscaping job in Westfield. The GPS tracker he uses for business mileage shows the truck arriving at 10:15 p.m. and departing at 11:23 p.m., time-stamped and stored in his phone. Shows payment processed at 11:19 p.m., but truth travels slowly in darkness. Lies sprint. Ruthanne's emergency text hits the neighborhood group chat at 1:12 a.m. Emergency HOA meeting. Clubhouse parking lot, ASAP, community safety crisis. By 1:30 a.m., 37 residents have gathered in lawn chairs under phone flashlights, creating a circle of small white beams like some suburban seance. Ruthanne stands in the center, holding a battery-powered camping lantern that casts harsh shadows across her face. "We're here because of a betrayal," she begins. "Someone in this community has violated our trust, our safety, our homes." Murmurs of agreement ripple through the circle. The evidence is clear. The motivation is obvious. The perpetrator is known. To us all, more murmurs, heads nodding, phones recording. Javier Velez has been angry about our fiscally responsible lighting decision for months. He's made threats, he's disrupted meetings, he's created division in our community. "I heard he had gambling debts," calls out someone from the back. "I heard he was facing foreclosure," adds another voice. Neither is true. Javier's mortgage is current. His credit score is 780. His business is thriving. But in the darkness of the parking lot, illuminated only by phone screens and battery-powered lanterns, facts become fiction and fiction becomes fact. The pattern is clear, Ruthanne continues. He creates a problem advocating for expensive street lighting we can't afford. Then he exploits the solution, using the darkness he warned us about to commit crimes and make us afraid. The logic is circular, insane, but it lands with the crowd. Heads nod, voices murmur agreement. "What do we do?" asks Mrs. Patterson. "We protect ourselves," Ruthanne says. "Effective immediately. I'm declaring a community safety emergency." Under Article 12 of our governing documents, any resident under criminal investigation is subject to immediate property lien pending resolution. "Can't you do that?" someone whispers. "It's in the bylaws," Ruthanne confirms. Page 47, subsection C, property. Liens for community safety violations. No one has read page 47, subsection C. Most residents have never read the bylaws at all. But Ruthanne has the manual, the lantern, the authority. She also has the vote that killed the streetlights, the son who needs protection, and the missing treasury funds that can't be discovered. All in favor of immediate property lien against 1247 Meadowbrook Circle. Hands rise in the darkness. Not all, but enough. Democracy in action, illuminated by phone screens and fear. "Motion carries," Ruthanne announces. Property lien effective immediately, at 1:47 a.m. While the crowd disperses and the parking lot returns to darkness, Javier sits in the back of Officer Dugan's cruiser, watching his neighbors stream past. The police cars without making eye contact, people who borrowed his tools, who hired his landscaping services, who signed his petition for safer streets. Popular guy Dugan says, following his gaze, "Look how many friends came out to support you." But Javier isn't looking at the crowd. He's looking at the clubhouse window, where a 17-year-old girl sits cross-legged on the floor with a laptop, a cracked phone, and a smartphone connected to the building's Wi-Fi. Valeria has been watching. Valeria has been recording. And Valeria has been waiting for the right moment to share. 47 seconds of truth with 37 neighbors who just voted to steal her family's home. The trap has tightened around Javier's neck. But traps work both ways, and sometimes the person who sets the snare is the one who gets caught, while Javier sits zip-tied in the back of a cruiser. His teenage daughter Valeria works magic with broken technology. The cracked phone screen looks like a spiderweb, but the video file is intact, stored in the cloud, synchronized across devices. Accessible from her laptop, which she's carried to the clubhouse window overlooking the emergency HOA meeting. "Can you get the smart TV working?" She asks Marcus Chen, the neighbor's kid who's been helping her with the tech setup. "Already done," Marcus says, holding up the TV remote. "Mirrored to your laptop. Just hit play." Valeria waits. Timing matters. Let Ruthanne finish her speech. Let the votes be cast. Let the trap close completely before springing it open. A.M., as the crowd begins to disperse, Valeria opens the clubhouse door. "Mrs. Keene," she calls out. "I have something you need to see." "Not now, dear," Ruthanne says, packing up her camping lantern. "It's very late." "It's about the burglary," Valeria says louder. "About my father." The dispersing crowd slows, stops, turns. I said, "Not now. I have video." Valeria interrupts. "From my dad's phone, Timestamped 11:09 p.m. You need to see this. Ruthanne's face goes pale in the phone-like glow. That's not necessary. The police have everything they need. Actually, calls out Mrs. Castellano, I'd like to see it. It's my house that was broken into. Me too, adds Mr. Patterson. If there's evidence, we should all see it. The crowd is reforming, phones raised, everyone recording everything. Ruthanne can't refuse without looking guilty, can't accept without risking exposure. She's trapped in the spotlight she tried to avoid. Fine, she says, but make it quick. Valeria connects her laptop to the clubhouse smart TV. The screen lights up like a beacon in the darkness, the brightest thing in the neighborhood since the streetlights died. This is security footage from my dad's phone, Valeria explains. Motion activated, timestamped 11:09 p.m., the video begins. Grainy at first, then sharp as the camera adjusts, a figure in dark clothes moves across the frame, limping slightly, favoring the left leg. The gait is distinctive, not just a limp, but a specific pattern, left foot dragging slightly, sole flapping with each step. That's not your father, Mrs. Castellano says immediately. Wrong build, wrong height. Keep watching, Valeria says. The figure moves past Ruthanne's Tesla, briefly illuminated by the car's security lights. Medium height, thin build, young male, the left shoe sole flaps with each step, creating a distinctive slapping sound on the audio. I know that walk calls out someone from the crowd. That's no one we know, Ruthanne interrupts quickly. Could be anyone. This proves nothing. But the crowd is buzzing. Phones are recording. People are remembering. That's Derek's walk, Mrs. Patterson says. I'd know it anywhere. He delivered my newspaper for 2 years. Derek's been limping since he broke his skateboard, adds Mr. Chen. Busted shoe sole. He was complaining about it last week. Wait, says Mrs. Castellano. Derek Keene, Ruthanne's son. The crowd goes quiet. All eyes turn to Ruthanne, who stands frozen under the glow of the smart TV screen. That's impossible, she says. Derek was home all night, with me. The timestamp shows 11:09, Valeria points out. My dad was arrested at 11:47. That's 38 minutes. Where was Derek at 11:09? Home, Ruthanne repeats. With me. Then why? Asks Mrs. Castellano slowly. Is he wearing the same jacket I saw him in at the mailbox yesterday? The same jacket the burglar is wearing in this video. The crowd murmurs. Phones buzz, text messages fly. This is ridiculous, Ruthanne says, but her voice cracks. You're all being manipulated by a criminal's family, actually calls out Officer Dugan. Walking up from the parking lot, we just got some interesting news from the lab. The crowd turns. Dugan holds up an evidence bag containing a backpack. Fingerprints came back on the money bag, he announces. Not Javier Velez's prints, someone else's, someone younger. Who's? Asks Mr. Patterson. Dugan looks directly at Ruth. We'll know soon, but I think we need to have a conversation about your son. The smart TV screen still glows in the darkness, frozen on the image of a limping figure in a familiar jacket. Around it, 37 neighbors stand in pools of phone light. Finally seeing clearly for the first time in months, the overlooked evidence has surfaced. The truth is illuminated, and in the harsh glow of revelation, some shadows are deeper than others. Javier walks straight to Ruthanne when Officer Dugan releases him at 2:31 a.m. The crowd parts like water, phones still recording, everyone waiting for the explosion. But Javier doesn't shout. He doesn't rage. He stops 3 feet from the HOA president and lowers his voice so everyone has to lean in to hear. You wanted darkness so no one would notice the missing dues, he says quietly. You got darkness, and you almost got me. Ruthanne's left eye twitches. I don't know what you're talking about. $13,750. Javier continues. Exact amount found in that backpack. Same amount missing from the HOA treasury since April. That's impossible, Ruthanne says, but her voice wavers. The treasury is fine. I have records. You have QuickBooks entries, Javier says. I have bank statements. He pulls out his phone, a different phone, undamaged, and shows a screenshot. I requested financial records 3 weeks ago under the state HOA transparency laws. Took them until yesterday to respond. The crowd presses closer. Phones crane forward to see the screen. The association account shows a balance of $47,230, Javier reads. But the expenses show $61,040. in lighting repairs paid to Keene Electrical Services between April and June. That's a legitimate vendor, Ruthanne protests. Run by your brother-in-law, Javier says, who happens to be Officer Dugan's brother, who happens to live in Florida, who happens to have no electrical license in this state. Officer Dugan steps forward. Now, wait just a minute. No, Javier says, turning to face him. You wait. Your body camera recorded you telling someone, and I quote, "I'll keep him busy till you wipe the QuickBooks." Internal Affairs is very interested in that recording. The crowd goes silent. The only sounds are breathing, shifting feet, and the distant hum of police radios. You planned this, Javier continues, looking back at Ruthanne. Kill the lights so no one would notice the missing money. When that didn't work, when people started asking questions, you needed a distraction, a villain, someone to blame. You're paranoid, Ruthanne says, but she's backing away. Am I? Javier asks. Your son breaks into houses. You plant the money. In my trash, your brother-in-law arrests me. Your other brother-in-law takes fake electrical payments. Everyone in your family profits except the neighbors who trusted you. Derek had nothing to do with this, Ruthanne says quickly. Derek had everything to do with this, Javier replies. Question is, did you tell him to do it, or did he do it to cover for you? The crowd is buzzing now. People are connecting dots, remembering conversations, checking text messages. The truth is spreading like light through darkness. Mrs. Keene calls out Mr. Patterson. I think you need to explain some things. I don't have to explain anything, Ruthanne snaps. This is harassment. This is accountability, Javier interrupts. Something you should have considered before you stole from 63 families. I didn't steal anything. Then, where's the money? Javier asks. Where are the electrical repairs? Where are the receipts, the work orders, the invoices? Ruthanne looks around wildly. The crowd has formed a circle around her, phones recording, everyone waiting for an answer. At the vendors, There were complications. There were lies, Javier says. And when the lies didn't work, there were crimes. And when the crimes didn't work, you tried to destroy an innocent man's life. You're not innocent, Ruthanne says desperately. You're angry. You're vindictive. You've been trying to undermine me for months. I've been trying to keep this neighborhood safe, Javier says. That's the difference between us. You see enemies where I see neighbors. You see profit where I see community. Officer Dugan's radio crackles. He listens, then looks up grimly. Derek Keene just turned himself in, he announces. Confessed to the burglaries. Says he was trying to get money to pay back what his mother took. The crowd erupts. Voices rise. Phones flash. Someone calls out, I knew it. Someone else shouts, corruption. But Javier keeps his voice quiet, keeps his eyes on Ruthanne. Your son is trying to save you, he says. Question is, are you worth saving? Ruthanne's face crumples. The mask slips. The authority dissolves. She's just a woman who made bad choices and dragged her family down with her. I needed the money. She whispers, Derek's college fund, the house payments. Everything was falling apart. So you made sure everyone else fell apart too, Javier says. But some things don't stay broken. Some things get fixed. He turns to address the crowd. Motion to dissolve the current HOA board effective immediately, he calls out. All in favor? Hands shoot up like streetlights. Coming on? Unanimous. Motion carries, Javier announces. Let's get some light back in this neighborhood. Within 48 hours, the dam breaks. Regional Power Utility Manager Janet Morrison received 17 calls on July 19th, 43 calls on July 20th, and a viral change.org petition with 12,847 signatures, demanding immediate streetlight restoration. The petition, titled Light Up Meadowbrook, Stop HOA Corruption, includes photos of the broken streetlights, copies of the falsified electrical invoices, and a video of Ruthanne's emergency meeting that's been viewed 847,000 times. This is a public safety crisis manufactured by financial fraud, Morrison tells her staff. We're treating it as an emergency response. By 10 a.m. on July 21st, 3 utility trucks are parked on Meadowbrook Circle, crews installing new LED streetlights at no cost to residents. The company takes the expense as a write-off, citing public safety mismanagement by private governance structure. The local news arrives at 11:30 a.m. Channel 7's investigative team has been tracking the story since the arrest. Video went viral. Reporter Sarah Kim interviews residents while electricians work overhead. "We trusted her," Mrs. Castellano tells the camera. "She was our neighbor, our president. We thought she was protecting us. She was protecting herself," adds Mr. Patterson. From the consequences of her theft, the HOA board dissolves under state statute 47B12, which automatically terminates governing bodies found guilty of financial malfeasance. The state assigns an interim management company to oversee the transition, while residents form a new board. Officer Dugan faces an internal affairs investigation after body cam audio surfaces of his conversation with Ruthanne. The recording, timestamped 11:43 p.m. on July 18th, captures him saying, "I'll keep him busy till you wipe the QuickBooks. Rick owes me for the electrical thing anyway." Rick is Richard Keene, Ruthanne's brother-in-law, and Officer Dugan's brother, who received $13,750 for electrical work never performed. The money trail leads investigators to a web of fake invoices, shell companies, and family kickbacks that span 3 municipalities. Internal Affairs Captain Rodriguez reviews the case file while Dugan sits across from her desk, badge and gun. "Already surrendered, 22 years on the force," Rodriguez says. "Clean record, commendations for community service. And you threw it all away for $13,000. "It wasn't supposed to happen like this," Dugan says. "Ruth said it was just budget adjustments. Moving money around, you planted evidence," Rodriguez says. "You falsified arrest reports. You conspired to frame an innocent man." "I was trying to help family." "You were trying to help yourself," Rodriguez corrects. "Your brother got paid. Your sister-in-law got covered. You got a cut. The community got robbed." Dugan's termination is effective immediately. The district attorney's office files charges of conspiracy, evidence tampering, and corruption of public office. His pension is frozen pending criminal proceedings. Derek Keene, 19 years old, and facing 3 counts of breaking and entering, sits in county lockup, waiting for his mother to make bail. She can't. The HOA accounts are frozen. The family assets are under investigation. The house is going into foreclosure. "I just wanted to help," Derek tells his court-appointed attorney. "Mom was crying about the money, said we'd lose everything, so you decided to steal from your neighbors. Decided to get the money back. Put it where it belonged. Make it look like someone else did it." "Why Javier Velez?" Derek stares at the floor. "Mom said he was the problem. Said he was making trouble for the family. Said if he went away, everything would be fine. And you believed her. She's my mom," Derek says. "I trusted her." The attorney makes notes. Another family destroyed by greed. Another son paying for his mother's crimes. On July 22nd, the regional power utility announces a policy change. No more reliance on private HOA. Governance for essential public safety infrastructure. All streetlights in residential developments will be maintained by municipal authorities, funded through property taxes, protected from private manipulation. Communities need light, Janet Morrison tells reporters. Not just electrical light, but transparency, accountability, truth. This situation could have been prevented with proper oversight. The Change.org petition evolves into a statewide movement. For HOA reform, legislators introduce bills requiring financial transparency, board accountability, and resident protection from governance corruption. Javier Velez testifies before the state legislature on August 15th, standing under bright overhead. "Lights in the Capitol hearing room, darkness enables corruption," he tells the committee. "When people can't see what's happening, bad things happen. When communities lose control of their own safety, families get hurt." The committee passes the Meadowbrook Transparency Act by unanimous vote. Governor Martinez signs it into law on August 28th. But the real change is quieter, more personal. 63 families learning to trust again. Neighbors talking to neighbors. Kids playing outside after dark. Light returning to places that forgot what it looked like. August heat settles over Meadowbrook Circle like a blanket. But the new streetlights hum with cool amber efficiency. Javier stands on his driveway at 10:17 p.m., watching kids dribble a basketball under actual visibility for the first time in 8 months. The nets swish, sneakers squeak on asphalt. Voices carry clearly in the illuminated air. Normal, he thinks. This is what normal looks like. Valeria joins him, fresh from summer job at the community center, still wearing her program coordinator badge. She's been working with younger kids, teaching them about civic engagement, community responsibility, standing up for what's right. "You proud of yourself?" she asks, bumping his shoulder. "Proud of you," he says. "That video saved everything." "That video saved you," she corrects. Everything else was already broken. They stand in comfortable silence, watching the neighborhood be a neighborhood again. Mr. Patterson walks his dog without a flashlight. Mrs. Castellano waters her flowers at 10:30 p.m. The Chen family sits on their porch, talking and laughing. "Are we safe now?" Valeria asks. Javier considers the question. Across the street, a for sale sign sits on Ruthanne's brown lawn reduced price, $25,000 below assessment. No offers yet. The house looks abandoned even with lights on. Derek is in county lockup awaiting trial. Officer Dugan is facing federal charges. The corruption has been exposed, punished, removed. But safety isn't just about removing threats. It's about building trust, maintaining vigilance, keeping the lights on even when it costs money. "Safer," he says finally, "not safe. Light helps, but eyes have to stay open." "Deep thoughts, Dad, deep summer," he replies. "Makes you think." The new HOA board meets every second Tuesday in the clubhouse. All meetings open to residents. All financial records posted online. All decisions made in full view of the community. Javier serves as treasurer, elected unanimously, trusted completely. The books balance, the lights work, the streets are safe, but he knows how quickly darkness can return. How easily trust can break, how much effort it takes to maintain the light. "You know what I learned?" Valeria says. "What?" "Corruption isn't about the money. It's about the lying, the hiding, the making people afraid to ask questions." "Smart kid?" "I learned from a smart dad." They watch the basketball players pack up, heading home under working streetlights. The Hendersons' garage door opens without fear. The Patel family's new bicycles sit unlocked in the driveway. "You think she'll ever come back?" Valeria asks, nodding toward the for sale sign. "Would you know?" Valeria says. "I'd be too ashamed." "Shame's not the problem," Javier says. "Pride was the problem. Shame might have saved her." A police cruiser drives slowly down the street. New officer. Officer Martinez, who waves at residents and stops to chat with kids. Community policing instead of family favors. Transparency instead of corruption. "The new guy seems better," Valeria observes. "Anyone would be better than Dugan. Think the system's actually fixed." Javier watches Officer Martinez help Mr. Patterson retrieve his dog's ball from under a parked car. "Systems don't fix themselves," he says. "People fix systems, and people break them too. So we just have to keep watching. We just have to keep participating." At 10:45 p.m., most of the neighborhood has gone inside. Porch lights glow. Motion sensors work properly. The streetlights hum their quiet electrical song. "Dad, yeah. I'm glad you fought for the lights. I'm glad you fought for me." They head inside, leaving the driveway empty but not dark. The basketball net hangs still in the amber glow. The street curves gently under working lamps. The neighborhood sleeps safely for the first time in months. In the distance, a house sits empty with a for sale sign that no one wants to answer. The lawn is brown, the windows are dark, the driveway is cracked, but the streetlight in front of it works perfectly, casting steady light on the consequences of choosing darkness over community, profit over responsibility, fear over trust. Some shadows are deeper than others. Some light is worth fighting for, and sometimes the brightest thing in a neighborhood is the knowledge that people are watching, people are caring, people are willing to stand up when the lights go out. The new lights hum amber through the August night, and Meadowbrook Circle dreams peacefully under their glow.